It's Christmas, and what better way to celebrate than with a mock draft? But what we've not been blessed with this Christmas, unfortunately, is a strong quarterback class. In fact, I'm pretty unmoved by both of the top two prospects in this year's NFL draft class. I think it's going to be a big year for the veteran quarterback market. Kyler Murray, Malik Willis, Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, even with his murkier situation, these guys are going to get a lot of interest this offseason because there's simply not enough good quarterbacks to go around in this year's draft class. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and make it work with what we've got. We're going to have a mock draft now with trades. Make sure you like and comment to push this video out to other mock draft fans, other NFL draft fans, and make sure you subscribe to not miss out on a single video. I've already done my quarterback rankings. If you want to go and watch that, check it out. There'll be more detail on all of this year's quarterback class. But of course, I'm going to be talking about the quarterback class in this mock draft anyway, but do subscribe to not miss out on another video. But let's get into it, and we have the New York Giants with the first overall pick. So we can get talking about this quarterback class right away because it doesn't make any sense for the New York Giants to stick here at 1. I think Jackson Dart is the guy going forward. Very bizarre game against the Vikings there where he attempted like no passes in the first half. That was odd, and I think that his concussion outlook is pretty ugly. That guy's got to learn how to slide, but he is the guy going forward. I feel pretty good actually about the Giants' quarterback situation relative to what it could have looked like if they kicked that can down the road and hoped for a stronger class this year. So the Giants are going to trade this first overall pick. Now, who could they trade it with? We have the Raiders at 2. They could come up one spot, guarantee their guy. It's happened before. Not necessary, but if you really love one quarterback over another, they might want to do that. The Browns, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is the long-term guy going forward. He had one good game against a terrible defense. Since then, and before then, he's not looked particularly good, I would say. So you could keep him and roll into next season with Sanders. The offensive line is absolutely abysmal, so maybe you just have him as the bridge and you try and build the team around him. The Jets at 4 have loads of draft capital, and they might want to trade up. I think that you can't really, if you're Aaron Glenn, you want to keep your job, roll into next season without an answer at quarterback. And the Arizona Cardinals at 5 could trade up. They're going to move on from Kyler Murray. I think they're most likely going to go down the veteran quarterback route, though. 5-1 is a bit expensive for a team that just isn't very good. So I'm going to have then the New York Jets trading up. They have all the draft capital in the world. As I say, they can't really let this quarterback class pass them by. I don't think with how this year's gone, they're starting Brady Cook onto their third quarterback. If you want to keep your job, Aaron Glenn, you're going to have something to turn to and say to the fans, hey, look, we're going to give this guy a chance. So I think it's going to cost... Is it going to cost it's going to cost 2 firsts. It's going to cost 2 firsts. And I think it's going to cost an extra second. Maybe not when it's 18, though. Maybe it is just 4 and 18. Because those are high draft picks this year, a known quantity. But I'd kind of, if I'm the Giants, I might even want a first next year instead. But let's just say it's these 2 first-round picks, 4 and 18. It might be a bit of extra change as well. Coming up historically from 4, it is a minimum of 2 first-round picks, generally speaking, and there might be some change in there. But for this draft, all that's going to matter is the Giants trade down. They get the 2 picks from the Jets. We're going to force that through. The Jets are then on the clock. Right. Now the Jets have a question to answer themselves. What type of quarterback do you want? Do you want the high-floor quarterback that I feel very good about being a good NFL quarterback in Fernando Mendoza? Or do you want the higher ceiling, more athletic ball of potential that is Dante Moore? The Jets have a good offensive line. And I like the idea of Mendoza being behind that offensive line and just being a high-floor quarterback that the Jets have simply never had in my lifetime as a fan. It feels like the Zach Wilson mess. Let's just go for a double. Let's not swing for a home run. Let's go with Fernando Mendoza. I think he's not the perfect QB1. I think it's always helpful to contextualize where I have these guys. Of the last 2 draft classes, they're the last 2 classes that I properly scouted and I watched tape of these guys and I feel like I know them well as prospects. I have Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Cam Ward all ranked ahead of where I have Mendoza. But Mendoza is ahead of the likes of the Bo Nixes, the Michael Penixes of the world, the Shedeur Sanderses, for example. I think that Mendoza is that high floor guy, not particularly athletic, but he's decisive, he's tough, he's got a lot of intangibles, that winning mentality. He's beaten Penn State away on the road, he's beaten Oregon, he's beaten Ohio State. That's an NFL level defense right there in college. He's got it done, he's won the Heisman. He's got a lot of ticks next to his name, there's no doubt about it. But my biggest knock on Mendoza is that he is not good when moved off his spot in the pocket, which is why having him to the Jets is a really good fit, I think, because they have a good offensive line. And I think that they have the playmaker in Garrett Wilson, but when you move Fernando Mendoza off his spot, he does not have the arm strength to throw off platform. He has to set his feet. That's where his interceptions come into play, when he's trying to kind of just like throw with only his arm. He just doesn't have that athleticism, doesn't have that playmaking ability out of structure, doesn't have the arm strength to be able to do that. But look, as a kind of souped up Jared Goff, he's not a statue in the pocket. He can pick up yards if he needs to. He can run if it's man coverage and defenders aren't looking at him. He's happy to go. So he's not Jared Goff. It's not like we saw against the Lions with the Steelers this weekend when the Steelers in the red zone just dropped 8 defenders because Jared Goff is not a threat to run it. Mendoza is. You can't do that against Mendoza. So for the Jets, I think it's a really nice pick and a good fit. You give up a little bit of draft capital, but I think you've got to guarantee yourself a quarterback. Maybe. I also do like the idea that you kind of kick the can down the road until next year. But with Aaron Glenn, I just don't know if he can afford to do that with how this team has gone for the Jets, because they look awful. The Raiders then at 2, they didn't have a choice. Maybe they're okay with that. They're obviously going to take Dante Moore here. With Dante Moore, he is that potential, right? He is that tantalizing upside that I know GMs are going to love. But he is imperfect, right? He is, the word I would use to describe Dante Moore is potential. He is 6'3", 210 pounds. He could play at that 220, 225 pound range. He's still only 20 years old. He's flashed that ability to make big throws down the field. He's got good arm strength. He's a good athlete. He can pick up yards with his legs, be that kind of 400-ish, 500-ish rush yards per season kind of quarterback, give the offense a higher floor, bail themselves out of difficult situations. But he looks like a first-year starter. He is very raw. If this was summer scouting, if this was April, this is probably more like July, I'd feel really good about Dante Moore. But he's coming out this year. He might be starting come next season, the first game of next season. He's a tricky prospect for me because it just, his inexperience shows. He plays within himself when he's not confident. He gets very check down happy when the lights get bright and they're down and they've got to try and get a score. He just is inexperienced. He is raw. He is the unrealized version of what he could be. And he just plays a bit conservative. So I think he's worth a top 3 draft pick. I like that the Raiders haven't had to trade up for him. But yeah, he's not a home run. Neither of those two guys are, for what it's worth. But it's a quarterback-driven league, and teams need a quarterback. And it's a weaker draft class. So they go 1 and 2. The Browns then, they miss out on the quarterback class, but I don't think that's the worst thing in the world because this team is awful. It is really, really bad. Now, they could trade down here, but I'm just going to pick Spencer Fano, the best offensive tackle prospect in this class. Is he worth a top 3 pick in a usual draft class? Hell no, he's not. He's not really a top 10 player on my big board, but needs must. He is the best offensive tackle prospect. The Browns desperately need a semi-competitive offensive line because, my God, they look awful. I mean, that's partially why Sanders looks so bad. He's a quarterback that needs a good offensive line. I'm happy for him to breathe a bridge. Maybe we sign a veteran as well to kind of compete with Sanders. But we need an offensive line to have any of those quarterbacks look semi-competent, and Spencer Fano is the best one. Early, but you've got to get your guy in this draft because the talent isn't there. So pick your guy and run the card in. And that's what I'm going to do with the Giants here as well. I think, looking at what this team needs, for me, it's either a toss-up between cornerback or, and the cornerback options are German McCoy, Mansour, Delane. I think it's a little bit early for those guys, but again, that's not really going to matter to me that much. I'm going to go with the wide receiver route, though, and I'm going to go with Carnell Tate here for multiple reasons. Firstly, I think that Carnell Tate is a really damn good wide receiver. Is 4 early? Hell yeah, it's early, but what are you to do? I don't know who's going to be trading up at this point for a non-quarterback. Teams don't love, it seems, unanimously Ruben Bain Jr. People might like him on the inside. I'll talk about that when I come on to Bain. And Arvell Reese is a super athletic, super high upside guy, but obviously the Giants don't need defensive line, so it makes no sense to get him. And for Tate, you get another target for Jackson Dart, who, as I said, is going to be the guy going forward for at least another year. You have Malik Neighbours there as the one. You have Carnell Tate there as the deep threat. You then have Wandale Robinson as that kind of shifty gadget underneath wide receiver 3. You have Neighbours stretching the field any direction, but mostly horizontally as that super agile guy. And then you've got Tate stretching the field vertically. And Jackson Dart's deep ball would work brilliantly with Carnell Tate there. It's early, but it's a weird draft class, guys. It's a weird draft class. So just take a punt. The Cardinals now at 5. I think they're going to be in the veteran quarterback market. Maybe even someone like who's the Raiders quarterback, and why am I blanking on his name? Even someone like a Geno Smith could be an option for them. Malik Willis maybe, but I think it's going to be a veteran option for them. Who are they going to go with at 5? They don't need a playmaker in that regard. I kind of like Ruben Bain here for them, if I'm being honest. What are their needs as well? What do the Cardinals? Offensive tackle, wide receiver. They don't need a wide receiver, I don't think. And running back, they could go with Jeremiah Love. And yeah, it's early for him as well. But yeah, we're going to go with Jeremiah Love here. He's going to go early off the board because Jeremiah Love, in terms of talent and ability and his projection, he is a top 5 player in this draft class 100%. Is it a bit rich for a team like the Cardinals drafting a running back at 5? Yeah, but also, I'm going to go with the talent in this draft class, guys. I'm going to take the sure thing in Jeremiah Love instead of going with, I could have gone with maybe another wide receiver, but I don't think the Cardinals need a wide receiver. They have Michael Wilson, who I think is really good. I think he's really underrated. Marvin Harrison Jr. has to have another year to show something. He's been injured and just not looking particularly effective. And they've got Trey McBride. They don't need another wide receiver here at 5. Let's give them a running back. Let's get some dynamism to that backfield. I like it. The Titans at 6. These guys need to add a playmaker. For Cam Ward, who I think has actually been very underrated in Tennessee this year. He's been playing with one of the worst supporting casts ever, but just no one talks about Cam Ward and no one talks about the Titans because, well, I don't really know why, but they aren't. And for I've got a breakdown on TikTok dropping today at Dom Corbs NFL if you don't already follow me. And hey, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, goddammit. But with Cam Ward, I'm looking at this play, 3rd and 17 against the Chiefs. The 3 receivers that are on the field for the Titans: Chimera DK, 5th round rookie kick returner; James Prochet, the Ravens 6th rounder from 2020, and Van Jefferson. That is awful. That is goddamn awful. I know they have Alec Alamanel. He's also not quite been what I hoped he would be. So we're going to hit receiver here. We're going to hit it hard. And we're going to take... now here's the toss-up. Do we want the kind of like wide receiver 1B, the Justin Jefferson light kind of player in Jordan Tyson? They have that same movement ability. Tyson's got a bigger frame. He's 6'1". He has been a bit, not up and down because Sam Levitt got injured and the season for the Sun Devils kind of fell apart. But Tyson was looking really good. Had 6 100-yard games before the injury to his quarterback. Got good movement skills, good agility, good separator, good hands. Or do we want that kind of shifty, dynamic playmaker in Makai Lemon? We're going to take the bigger guy in Jordan Tyson here, I think. Not more of a sure thing, but just someone that I think gives a bit more physicality to this Titans offense that really needs it. With Tyson as hopefully the 1, and then Ayamana as the 2. It's getting better, but we could even add some more later in the draft if we wanted to. The Commanders at 7. Ooh. What are these guys doing? That is the question. Edge, I'm going to go... See, now here's the edge question. This is going to be Arvell Reese or it's going to be Ruben Bain Jr. Arvell Reese is split time, off-ball linebacker and edge. Would teams trust that? Or are they going to go with Ruben Bain Jr.? But then teams also don't love the potential. He's got shorter arms. He's not an incredible athlete. He, for some teams, apparently is more of a defensive or an interior defensive lineman. So... let's just I'm going to go with Ruben Bain as an edge player here. I'm until I rewatch his tape and I see that for myself, I'm treating Bain Jr. like an edge. He had 7 pressures and 3 sacks in the first playoff game against Texas A&M. He's a game wrecker. I'm going to stick with what I've seen. I'll rewatch it and let's see if it changes my opinion. But for now, I'm banking on Ruben Bain Jr. being a good edge defender. The Saints at 8. Now, what are the Saints going to do here? They also need wide receiver. And I really quite like Makai. I like these wide receivers, guys. I like these wide receivers. I like Makai Lemon. He's the last guy that I'm going to take in the top 20 picks. Chris Olave is relatively similar, but I think Tyler Shough has shown that he looks to be the guy. I hold my hands up. I liked Shough, but I hated the pick. I hated them taking him at 40. It just kind of made no sense to me. But I tell you what, he's looking damn good. He's looking damn good. So maybe it was a fantastic pick. And let's help him out. Let's give him Makai Lemon. Let's get some life into this offense, man. You've got Chris Olave. He's not getting older, but he's got the issues with his concussions. How's that going to look? Help him out. Makai Lemon and Olave overlap a little bit in like their kind of play styles. They're smaller. They're kind of shiftier guys. But Lemon's got way more juice than Olave has right now. So let's bring a bit of juice to this offense. Let's help out Shough. Let's go with it. Now, the Bengals at 9. This is one of two picks, and it always has been and it always will be. It's either going to be defensive line or offensive line. Now, because they did draft Shamar Stewart last year, he's been injured, and he didn't look fantastic when he was on the field. Showed flashes, but was getting blown up on one of those run plays, which went viral. That clip of him getting drilled into the ground. I quite like here. Now, it's a little early again, but also Joe Burrow's thinking about retiring. I don't think the Bengals really have or allegedly, and it doesn't seem like he's happy. I don't think the Bengals have the luxury here of not going offensive line. And Francis Mauigoa, who is the offensive tackle from Miami, is a really good offensive lineman. He could be more of a guard, but you have that kind of outside-inside flexibility. The Bengals can address other needs in free agency, and they can have Mauigoa as just that interior guy. Could be a swing tackle if you need him to, if there are injuries. I just think you have to go with the floor of Mauigoa on the offensive line, if I'm being honest with you. You've got to protect Joe Burrow. It is time. The Dolphins at 10. Now, these guys need a quarterback. And I did say that I do think that Ty Simpson... Look, Ty Simpson hasn't said if he's declaring or not. I quite like the idea of Ty Simpson here. Is there like a team later? Yeah, the Steelers could at 20 as well. And that shades of Kenny Pickett there, hey? But what are the Dolphins going to do at quarterback? I mean, they could be like a Kyler Murray, for example. I think it's a little... Ty Simpson is going to go in this first round for me. I have faith in Ty Simpson, but at 10, it's a little bit rich still. What do the Dolphins need? Let's see. What do I have the Dolphins down as needing? Corner, yeah. Interior offensive line, I also like. Tight end, I also quite like. I think this is going to be a cornerback here. They're going to get their choice of cornerback 1. Let's go with Jan McCoy. He's been injured all season, but the fact that he's still a potential, fringe top 10 pick says all you need to know about the talent that he has there. He was that lockdown CB1 going into this season, unfortunately got injured, but he can be just that guy you leave out on an island. He can go press man against the receiver. And honestly, they've not had that since Jalen Ramsey in Miami. I think they were starting a Storm Duck this year. An unserious football team. German McCoy. I feel all right about that. The Rams now at 11. We're also going to go cornerback with them again. It's going to be back-to-back cornerbacks here off the board because the Rams, as much as Emmanuel Forbes has been better, I mean, a hell of a lot better from his time in Washington, he has also still been beaten quite badly at points. He has looked genuinely feasible as a potential rotational cornerback, I would say. So that's a good pickup from them. But they need that guy they can just leave out there and rely on. And Mansour Delane has been the best healthy cornerback this year in college football. Sticky coverage man cornerback. Not a superb athlete, but very good. I feel good about him also being a good NFL player. And the Rams have this pick on the house. You get a free cornerback, essentially, because it's the Falcons pick. The Chiefs at 12. This is going to be David Bailey. I think they need juice off the edge. David Bailey is leading the nation in pressures. He's a good speed rusher, played better against the run this year. Not just a pure designated pass rusher. I feel really good about Bailey at 12. He's not a top 5 pick kind of guy, but at 12 for a team that desperately needs edge like the Chiefs, David Bailey makes so much sense. You've still got Chris Jones. He's not looked like his true self, and he's getting, he's not getting any younger. But you have someone helping him off the edge, and Chris Jones is suddenly going to look a hell of a lot better, I think. So David Bailey at 12 for the struggling Chiefs, the now Kansas-based or soon-to-be Kansas-based Chiefs, because they're moving from Missouri to Kansas, just across Kansas City, which is in both. Don't worry, my American geography knowledge is on point, guys. The Commanders, the Cowboys. This is a choice of two players here for me, 100%. It is either Caleb Downs. Oh my God, Arvell Reese is still on the board. Ooh, interesting. But, they could go Arvell. Well, it's a choice of three players. And they're all three Ohio State players. It's a choice of Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, and Sonny Styles. Caleb Downs is the better talent. He's an unbelievable player. He is just so damn good. Arvell Reese. I love Arvell Reese. He's super athletic. He's never gone this low in a mock draft I've done. But again, he is that off-ball linebacker that plays some edge. He's not a full-time edge defender yet. So if you get him and you draft him, you wanted to play that full-time edge, that's going to be, I think, a bit of an adjustment period. Ooh. It's a choice for me of Downs and Reese. I love Styles. I think he's so good. But we're going to take Caleb Downs here. I'm going to go with the talent. I know that Arvell Reese is super, super talented, but Caleb Downs is potentially a top 3 player in this class in terms of raw talent. He just plays safety. But Kyle Hamilton went at 14. You feel damn good about Caleb Downs going at 13 because he's unbelievable, guys. He's so good. He flies downhill. He's unaccounted for in the run game. He can fit the run so well. Super cerebral. I think the smartest player in this class. He's got that kind of Travis Hunter ability to see the game like that quarterback from the defensive side of the ball. Brilliant player. Fits what the Cowboys need. I like that. The Ravens at 14. Ugly season for the Ravens. They need defensive line. They need offensive line. They need a wide receiver. Do they go with Lamar and just be like, look, we're going to get you an interior offensive line because who's the guy? Is it Daniel Falele? Yeah, Daniel Falele. He is a sleeper agent for the other 31 NFL teams because he's just not got the Ravens' best interests at heart. So what are they going to do? They could go interior offensive line at 14, which I really don't hate. When you've got a quarterback like Lamar and you need to invest in him, I know it's a little bit early for interior offensive line at 14, but it kind of makes sense. But then you also defensively, which is also a huge need, you've got Arvell Reese. And you can have him off the edge, some actual juice off the edge. Who is it? They drafted him from Marshall with their first-round pick this year. I can't remember. But their first-round pick, their second-round pick from last year, hasn't done anything. They have no juice off the edge. And I think you can get interior offensive line later in the draft, if I'm honest with you. I think it's quite a good interior offensive line class. So let's take Arvell Reese here and get him off the edge. We'll have him play defensive line full time. The Vikings at 15. Running back, there's not going to be another running back in this first round because the only one that's worth it is, what's his face? Jeremiah Love. So what are we going to do then? Who's on my board that I quite like? Let's see here. So the Vikings, cornerback, safety, wide receiver, linebacker. Oh, Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles could be a great pick. Oh, I like that. But then, maybe tight end? TJ Hawkinson is... Or do they want to invest in their offensive line again? The Vikings I find tricky because they do need a cornerback, but both of the top two are gone. Linebacker, I think that's where I'm kind of leaning. Defensive line as well. Someone like a Keldrick Folk could be really useful in that defense. He can play inside, he can play outside. Maybe a little bit more valuable position than Sonny Styles, but Sonny Styles is really good. He is really good. And I think that the defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, is going to love what Sonny Styles can do as that cover linebacker, can come downhill, can engage with offensive linemen so well. Wouldn't shock me if Sonny Styles was a top 10 pick I think he will be a top 10 player on my big board, but I'm reworking my big board until after the playoffs. So for now, Sunny Styles at 15 feels right, but man, he is just so damn good. The Big Ten championship game against Indiana, one of the best games you'll see from a linebacker all season long. He is really good, and I think that's going to make a great defense already even better. The Buccaneers are pretty gutted about that, I would say, with Sunny Styles going at 15. They need edge. Is that Keldrick Folk? They need tight end. It's going to be Kenyon Sadiq. I am not huge on Sadiq, but it's a weaker draft class, and I think that he is that, not Harold Fannin, because he wasn't the same kind of player in college, but basically he's not a tight end. He's a big wide receiver that you can line up at tight end occasionally and really just have him being that like big slot or whatever, because he is a good playmaker. He's a good receiver. Not like super dynamic in the line of like even a Colson Loveland or a Tyler Warren, but just a tier below those guys, I would say. And Sadiq goes to the Buccaneers, replaces Cade Otton, another target for Baker Mayfield. Who knows what's happening with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Emeka Egbuka. They've got to kind of work that out, but let's throw Sadiq in there. I like that. But the Buccaneers have a lot of needs. So Bucs fans, let me know. Would you have gone with an interior offensive lineman? Would you have traded up, maybe been aggressive for Sunny Styles? The Lions at 17. Now, it's through injuries, but these guys have a serious offensive line problem right now. They do. So I'm looking at the interior offensive line, or rather a tackle that I could move inside. Could be Jennings Dunker. I love Jennings Dunker. Could be Trevor Goosby. I really like Trevor Goosby as well. Ooh, a name that I've not had in the first round for a while, a name that people might not know about. But Trevor Goosby, I like. Let's have a look at the pure IOLs. You've got Ioane. You've got Emmanuel Pregnon. I feel better about Ioane. He's played all three interior offensive line positions. He is an absolute ball. He's not allowed a sack in the last 3 years. Get him on the Lions, man. Get him protecting Jared Goff. That makes too much sense. The Giants have their second first-round pick after their trade with the New York Jets. We drafted Carnell Tate with the first overall pick. We've gone wide receiver. This could be the offensive line now, I feel. This could be the Gooseby. The big goose. It's that. I like Severald as well. I like Jennings Dunker. It's going to be one of these three guys. It's going to be Jennings Dunker, Austin Severald, or Trevor Goosby. Trevor Goosby can genuinely tackle. These other guys you're going to move inside, I think. Austin, Severald, and Jennings Dunker definitely going to move inside. Do you want that just like mauling guard? Like, I think Jennings Dunker is going to be a really damn good player. Do you just want to take him at 18 and feel really damn good about that draft class? Or do we want to kind of look at the tackles? Because that's kind of a need. And Trevor Goosby is the last tackle that I like here. Let's go. Giants fans. Dunker, Severald, Goosby. Let me know. I kind of like Gooseby. I'm scared. Giants fans are going to hate whichever one I go with, I feel. Am I missing someone? On the board? This always happens. There's someone I'm missing. Keldrick Folk, Hal, Boston, McDonald, I like, but they don't need him. No, we're definitely right on the offensive line angle. We are going to stake a claim, and we're going to go Trevor Goosby, the tackle from Texas, a name that, trust me, you're going to be hearing more about. That's what I'm going to say right now. If you don't like it, let me know. If you love it, definitely let me know. The Panthers, potential playoff team right now at 19. These guys need defensive juice, a wide receiver potentially as well. Maybe not in this first round. I like interior offensive line for them as well. Who do we have at edge? This is the thing with edge, right? I actually think that Nick Skoughton has been playing really well down the stretch. He's not like a guy that's going to strike fear into the hearts of offensive linemen, but he's been playing well. And Keldrick Folk is kind of more of an inside, like a tweener, inside-outside guy for me. And they kind of just need, well, to be fair, with Derek Brown, I quite like that, actually. You can have him on the inside. You can have him off the edge. What do I have the Panthers needing? Let's just double-check that. Interior offensive line, linebacker, cornerback. Yeah, so it's either going to be Keldrick Folk or Who do we have on the offensive line still? We've got, Jennings Dunker. Ooh. I just feel better about Jennings Dunker. I'm going to draft Jennings Dunker here. Mauling guard, ginger mullet from Iowa, farm boy. Put him in your offensive line. Watch him just maul people. The Steelers at 20. Now, Steelers fans, let's start a dialogue here. Rodgers is gone, presumably. I mean, you never know what Rodgers is going to do. I quite like Will McDonald. However, I also quite like Ty Simpson. But are we scared now of drafting quarterbacks in this range in the draft because this is where we took Kenny Pickett? I just don't think that putting Simpson in this situation is a particularly good idea either. They need offensive tackle. They need wide receiver. They need a quarterback. Who have we got left? Let's see. Who are our wide receivers? Casey Concepcion. I love him. Yeah, we're going to go with KC here. Bring some juice to this offense, man. DK Metcalf is a good receiver, just not a consistent wide receiver one. And then who have they got in the slot? Like Roman Wilson? Casey Concepcion is so dynamic. His legs are a blur. He's running in 1.5 speed everywhere. He's super agile. He's super quick. He's a great pairing, I think. And this offense needs some juice. The defense needs a bit of work too, but let's go with Casey Concepcion there. First round wide receiver for me, 100%, well worth 20th overall pick. The Cowboys, after drafting Caleb Downs, have their second first round pick from the Packers. Is this Keldrick Folk? Kind of makes sense, right? Linebacker. Running back, there's no running back here. We're going to go with Keldrick Folk here now for the Cowboys. At 21, it makes sense. A bit of a tweener. I don't love the tweener guys, but he is super. His physical tools are off the charts, Keldrick Folk. He's got a crazy build. He is someone that I think can be that like pressure player off the edge. He's 6'6", 285 pounds, 26. He's on like 30 pressures now, multiple sacks, can be moved around the defensive line, is a bit of a tweener, but he can play edge. He can rush the passer. With Ezeraku as well, you need that guy that's a bit bigger, can set the edge on the defensive line. You've got, obviously, what's-his-face? Quinnen Williams on the interior. I quite like what Keldrick Folk brings there as that kind of guy that splits the difference between Ezeraku and Quinnen Williams. The Eagles at 22. Ooh, okay. What are the Eagles? I think the Eagles have an interior offensive line problem, if I'm being honest with you, a problem. They're also not great off the edge, but the edge defenders at this point, Cassius Howe's got sub 31-inch arms. I'm not going near him. And I'm just kind of unmoved by these guys. I'm unmoved. They're like the smaller, more kind of designated pass rushers. TJ Parker's not a first-round guy. LT Everson's not a first-round guy. So we're looking at Cassius Howe, Romello Height, and R. Mason Thomas. I think you can do better than that, to be honest with you. Or at least I don't feel particularly great about that at 22. What I do feel much better about at 22, though, is looking at like an Austin Severald, a Caleb Lomu maybe, and then who do we have at pure IOL? We're going to take Emmanuel Pregnon, I think, here, and just feel really good about having a rock on the interior because it's been a mess for the Eagles this year, their interior of the offensive line, and really the whole offensive line, I think, as a result, has taken a pretty major step back. So let's get the identity of this offense in Philadelphia, which is the offensive line, back on track. Let's go with Emmanuel Pregnon. The Texans at 23. Now, we're in an ugly, ugly position here because we also need offensive line, and I don't know who's kind of left on the board, and we also need running back, but we're not going to draft a running back now. It's a need for us, so I'm definitely going to go offensive line. I think I'm going to go with Austin Severald and kind of move people around. Caleb Lomu, move people around. Who's the pure interior guys that are left? Connor Lew's torn his ACL, so it's not going to be him. Oh, we've got all of them now. That's cool. Yeah, let's take a good high floor offensive lineman in Austin Severald, and we'll work out where he can play. We'll get our best 5 guys out there. It's got to be done. It has to be done. We've got a pocket passing quarterback in CJ Stroud. We need to have the offensive line to match that. We've got the receiving threats. We don't play them enough, but we have the receiving threats in Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins, Nico Collins. The defense is incredible. I like that. For the Bills, it's going to keep being my pick for the Bills until I can't make it anymore. And it's Denzel Boston. Keon Coleman's been a healthy scratch now for the last 3 weeks. They have no wideouts. They're playing 3 tight ends because they just have no big bodies that can do things. Khalil Shakir is a nice player, but Denzel Boston is a 6'4" X wide receiver. That is what this team needs. That's what this team has needed for the last 3 years. At 24, I love it. Just toss it up to Boston. He'll come down with it. And he's great in the run game as well. Big blocker. So that also really helps. You get into like 13 personnel. You have James Cook. You have your 3 tight ends. And you have Denzel Boston on the field. If Joe Brady's not a head coach somewhere, he's going to love that. The 49ers at 25. How this team is as good as they are when they've had the injuries they've had. Incredible. Genuinely incredible. Brandon Ayuk's gone. I think they need a wide receiver. But at this point in the draft, none of these guys are first rounders. I like Chris Bell. I think Jeremy Bernard could play his way into the first round, but he's not exactly dynamic. So we're going to leave wide receiver now, I think. And we're going to look at, we'll look at edge. We'll have a look. We'll have a look at edge because they do need someone coming off the edge. On mine, it's R. Mason Thomas. But maybe they'll go Cassius Howell. Let's just take Cassius Howell. He has been super productive. He is really good off the edge. He has produced. He just has the short arms. But at 25, I don't really hate that. 49ers fans, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments because I feel like there are certain teams that I have mental blocks with. This is definitely one of them. Chargers, another, the amount of teams that need interior offensive linemen is crazy. But I also think Caleb Banks here is going to be the shout for the Chargers. Injured with a foot injury. Missed time all year with a foot injury. But he's a good player, someone that I feel will sneak into the back of the first round. The Chargers need someone on that interior of the defensive line, and Caleb Banks can fill that role quite nicely. Now, the Browns at 27. The Browns, with their first pick, took Spencer Fano. See, I want to just smash offense. I almost want to double dip with the offensive line. Like, is this Caden Proctor at 27? Like, he's a mauler. I like him at guard more than at tackle, so that's not a bad idea there. Depends what scheme they want to run. He's not going to be someone you can get on the move. So it depends who the coach is. But I think I'm going to double dip at offensive line here because it is just that bad. It is just that bad. I also like Blake Miller as a potential tackle as well. So it's then a choice of Proctor, Lomu, or Miller. Because we've got... Yeah. We're going to go with tackle. We're going to go with Blake Miller. He's started 3-4 years at Clemson. Still quite raw, lets players into his chest too much, but he is a fantastic athlete. He is kind of like the Anthony Richardson of offensive line prospects. I like Miller's potential. And at 27, to get a potential starting tackle, it's good. And look, you've got 2 new tackles. If you want, you can move maybe one of them into guard. I don't know, but the Browns just have to address the offensive line, I think, because you can't succeed with the offensive line they currently have. The Rams at 28. Look, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to draft Ty Simpson here at the back end of the first. And that's because I'm still holding out hope for Ty Simpson. I think he's going to go back to school. I don't think he's going to declare. But right now, he's not said if he is or isn't. I think that, yes, Ty Simpson's play dropped off and really tanked after week 6. But Alabama were not particularly great after week 6. The offensive line was not good. The wide receivers were not separating. Ryan Williams dropping passes left, right, and center. The running game, non-existent. The pass rush for Alabama, non-existent. It was basically all put on Ty Simpson's plate, and he sank. He did sink, but I don't know what college quarterback wouldn't have in his position. I like his ability to make NFL throws. I think he's great pre-snap. I think he's so good at deciphering defenses. Against LSU, corner blitz, saw it pre-snap, took the snap, confirmed it, threw it right where the cornerback had just blitzed from, touchdown. Changing the protection. You get him sitting for a year behind Matthew Stafford with Sean McVay. I like that pick. And it's basically your free swing because you've taken a good cornerback with the first at 11 with the Falcons. So I like that. I think it makes a lot of sense. Just me, though, maybe. The Bears at 29. I mean, I tell you what, their defensive line recently has started playing pretty well. But I quite like Caden McDonald as a first-round pick. Who else is on the board here? Yeah, we're going to go with Caden McDonald. An interior defensive line that I really like. Definitely worth a back end of the first-round pick. Makes that Bears defensive line a little bit better. Recently, that's come on quite a lot. But I still think you're going to want to go back to that, I think, for the Chicago Bears. The Patriots at 30. I mean, this could creepily be a Dylan Thieneman, but it's a little bit early for safety, I think. So then, what are we going to go with? Is this a Caden Proctor? They don't really run a lot of outside zone. They don't really get their offensive linemen moving very much. Let's take Caden Proctor here. I kind of love that. Sorry. I think that's an unbelievable pick. Could play guard, could play tackle. Mauler in the run game as well. Absolute mauler. He's just so big. I just don't love the type of offensive lineman that Caden Proctor is, in the sense that he is like 98th percentile, he's like 360 pounds. He just can't move for you. So if he's going against speed rushes off the edge, he's going to find it tricky. But if you want to get him in the run game and you get him running downhill behind Caden Proctor, he's going to move people for you. The Broncos at 31. I don't think this team is going to the Super Bowl with the way Bo Nix is playing, but right now, that's where they're projected to pick. What is this team? This could be a CJ Allen at 31. I don't love that, though. Riley Moss, I'm telling you, I just don't trust Riley Moss enough to overlook cornerback here. Look at, he missed 2 tackles on Parker Washington. So Avion Terrell is a potential for me there. Brandon Cisse I also like as a potential cornerback here. Amari Washington I like as an interior defensive lineman. Tight end, there's not another tight end I'm going to take here. Center we can go for later. We're just going to go for talent here, I feel. I do like the linebacker class. Let's see who we've got. Yeah, I like CJ Allen. I like CJ Allen at 31. Yeah, let's go there. Downhill thumper, athletic, in Sean Payton's offense. Let's go for it. And the Seahawks. Wow, at 32. These guys kind of need a wide out as well, to be honest with you. Cooper Kupp is just doesn't have any juice left. Rashid Shaheed is that guy, but more of a gadget player. JSN would need the help. Seahawks fans kind of always hate who I draft as well. They're a team that I struggle for. Do they go with a Caleb Lomu maybe now? Or do they go the cornerback? Oh, no, they're going to go with the cornerback. This team needs cornerback this team needs, let me just check what I have on my needs. Yeah, let's go with cornerback here. So then who are we going to take? Got your pick of the bunch. Do you like the Avian Terrell? Really good at forcing fumbles. I think that someone like Mike McDonald would love what Avian Terrell could give to the offense. Brandon Cisse is more of the athlete. I like Keith Abney. Let's go with Avian Terrell. Back end of the first round. Bit of a lighter cornerback, but as a cornerback 2, well, I can also play 1, but he's not going to be like your go-to guy in that defense, I don't think. But here it is on the board. My mock draft, my Christmas mock draft. So, Merry Christmas. Did I give you a good present for your team? Sorry if you're the Falcons and the Packers, and I think there's one more team that's not picking in the first round. I will be doing 2-round mocks, so make sure you subscribe to not miss out on that. But what do you think about this mock draft? Did I kill it? Did I miss? Did I draft someone too highly, someone too late? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. But I've been your host, Dom Corbs. This has been Corbs NFL. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.